Hi, welcome to our channel of IGNOU Audiobooks, Indira Gandhi National Open University, School of Engineering and Technology, SOET, Master of Science, Renewable Energy and Environment, MSc RWEE. Semester 2, MEV 003 Environmental Law and Management. Block 1 Environmental Acts, Laws and Policies. Unit 4 National Environmental Legislation and Programs 3.
4.0 Introduction. Environmental pollution means contamination of the environment in such a way that it causes hazards or creates potential hazards to health and well-being of living persons and non-living beings. According to the report of the Restoring the Quality of the Environment, President's Science Advisory Committee, Washington, USA, pollution may be defined as unfavorable alteration of our surroundings wholly or largely as a byproduct of man's actions through direct or indirect effects of changes in energy patterns, radiation levels, chemical land, physical constitution, and the abundance of organisms. There may be three criteria for defining pollution with the waste materials resulting from human activities and disposal of wastes, damages caused by disposed wastes whether directly or indirectly, and the circumstances where the effect of damage is met by third parties, according to Section 2(c) of the Environment Protection Act, 1986. Environmental pollution means any solid, liquid or gaseous substance present in such concentration as may be or tend to be injurious to environment. In other words, environmental pollution means the presence in the environment of any substance which is harmful to human beings, other living creatures, plants, microorganisms and property. Environmental pollutant, according to Section 2(b), means any solid, liquid or gaseous substance present in such concentration as may be, or tends to be, injurious to environment. Every substance existing in the environment has definite composition. When a foreign body is introduced into it or the proportion of its constituents is modified, then that substance loses its original character and qualities. The original form of the substance was meant to serve a definite purpose, but the changed form is not suitable to serve the same purpose. Such modified form is termed as polluted or adulterated substance, and the process of polluting a substance is called pollution. According to D.M. Dixon, pollution includes all those activities conscious or unconscious of human beings and their domestic cattle and the result thereof, which detract in any way in the long term or short term from enjoyment of his environment and his ability to derive full benefit therefrom. According to Natural Environment Research Council, NERC, 1976, pollution is regarded as the release of substances and energy as waste products of human activities which result in changes usually harmful within the natural environment. Pollutants may be classified on the basis of their nature and state, such as a. Solid particulate pollutants, e.g. aerosols, industrial wastes such as lead, mercury, tailings, asbestos, etc. b. Gaseous pollutants, e.g. chlorofluorocarbon, gases, carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, etc. and c. Liquid pollutants, e.g. leaked, all sticks in seawater, dissolved solids, ammonia, urea, nitrate, chloride, fluoride, insecticides and pesticides all in dissolved form, oil and grease, etc. There is need to bring great awareness for harmonizing population dynamics and socio-economic development and harnessing of natural resources with due care to see that the quality of environment does not deteriorate. 4.1 Objectives. After studying this unit, you should be able to state the general principles of food safety and constitutional provisions, explain about the standards and the mechanism for the enforcement of those standards, describe the various laws related to food industry, discuss the industrial policies and issue, explain the regulations with regard to Insecticides and Pesticides Act, discuss various case laws related to food safety and adulteration, and understand various legislations, prevention and controlling acts. 4.2 The ESSE Tile Commodities ACT 1955. The increasing requirement of commercial energy has led to considerable spurt in the demand for electricity and fossil fuels. There is enormous potential for reducing energy consumption by adopting energy efficiency measures in various sectors, as per Energy Conservation Bill 2000 introduced in Lok Sabha. Energy Conservation Act 2001 is a statutory measure to regulate the energy efficiency and conservation due to an increase in the demand for electricity and fossil fuel and an increasing dependence on commercial energy. The Act tries to promote energy efficiency in the commercial sector, which is the largest user of energy. This would reduce the pressure on already existing resources and would be beneficial to the environment. This act is very similar to the Environment Protection Act with regard to delegated legislation. The legislation for efficient use of energy and its conservation proposes to provide for a bureau by merging existing energy management center to effectively coordinate with designated consumers and agencies for performing such functions and exercise such powers which may be necessary for efficient use of energy and its conservation. The Act confers powers upon the central government and the state government for enforcing the provisions of the legislation. Energy Conservation Fund separately is established, impose penalties in case of contravention of the provisions of the proposed legislation, and prescribe the procedure for adjudication of the penalties and appeal to High Court. Section 3 of the Essential Commodities Act 1955 deals with powers to control production, supply, distribution, etc. If the central government is of the opinion that it is necessary or expedient so to do for maintain or increasing supplies of any essential commodity or for securing their equitable distribution and availability at fair prices or for securing any essential commodity for the defense of India or the efficient conduct of military operations, it may by order provide for regulating or prohibiting the production, supply or distribution thereof and trade and commerce therein, without prejudice to the generality of the powers conferred by subsection I. An order made thereunder may provide for regulating by licenses, permits or otherwise the production or manufacture of any essential commodity. Environmental Law Dia. J.J.R. Upadhyay, Central Law Agency, 3rd edition 2012. 4.3 Fertilizer Control Order 1985. The legislation for efficient use of energy and its conservation proposes to provide for a bureau by merging existing energy management center to effectively coordinate with designated consumers and agencies. Fertilizer Control Order 1985 came into force on the date of its publication in the Official Gazette for regulating equitable distribution of fertilizers and making fertilizers available at fair prices by notification in the Official Gazette. Fix the maximum prices or rates at which any fertilizer may be sold by a dealer, manufacturer, an importer or a pool handling agency. Here is the need to develop planned strategic environment initiative. New technologies must be developed in a variety of fields such as agriculture, forestry, energy production and use, building technology and waste reduction, and cycling. As a result of Green Revolution, there is a vast growth in food production which is often relied on environmentally destructive techniques, such as heavily subsidized fertilizers and pesticides, the extravagant use of water in poorly designed irrigation schemes, the exploitation of the short-term productivity of soils which leads to massive soil erosion. In this situation, SCI encourages sound policies and methods and helpful in maintaining ecological balance. The use of chemicals must be prohibited where pollution is caused by chemicals. Ideally, it should be in appropriate usage and in adequate proportion. Environmental Law Dia. J.J.R. Upadhyay, Central Law Agency, 3rd edition, 2012. Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, Department of Agriculture and Cooperation, New Delhi, dated 25 September 1985, issued the Fertilizer Control Order 1985, Order GSR 758-E. In exercise of the powers conferred by Section 3 of the Essential Commodities Act 1955, 10 of 1955, the central government makes the following order. Namely, 1. Short title and commencement 1. This order may be called the Fertilizer Control Order 1985. 2. It shall come into force on the date of its publication in the Official Gazette. The central government may, with a view to regulating equitable distribution of fertilizers and making fertilizers available at fair prices, by notification in the Official Gazette, fix the maximum prices or rates at which any fertilizer may be sold by a dealer, manufacturer and importer, or a pool handling agency too. The central government may, having regard to the local conditions of any area, the period of storage of fertilizers and other relevant circumstances, fix different prices or rates for fertilizers, having different periods of storage or for different areas or for different classes of consumers. 3. No dealer, manufacturer and importer or pool handling agency shall sell or offer for sale any fertilizer at a price exceeding the maximum price or rate fixed under this clause. Regarding the display of stock position and price list of fertilizers, every dealer who makes or offers has to make a retail sale of any fertilizers shall prominently display in his place of business about the quantities of opening stock of different fertilizers held by him on each day and a list of prices or rates of such fertilizers fixed under clause 3 and for the time being in force. Every dealer shall issue a cash or credit memorandum to a purchaser of fertilizers. Under this Act, there is description about the system of allocation of fertilizers to various states. The central government may, with a view to securing equitable distribution and availability of fertilizers to the farmers in time, by notification in the Official Gazette, direct any manufacturer importer to sell the fertilizers produced by him in such quantities and in such state or states, and within such period as may be specified in the said notification. 4.4 Insecticides ACT 1968. Water is a basic need for the survival of human beings and is part of the right to life and human rights as enshrined in Article 21 of the Constitution of India. The resolution of UNO in 1977, to which India is a signatory, during the United Nations Water Conference, resolved unanimously, inter alia, as under, all people, whatever their stage of development and their social and economic conditions, have the right to have access to drinking water in quantum and of a quality equal to their basic needs. Narmada Bachao Andolan V. Union of India, 2010 SCC 664. The United Nations also emphasized the importance of purity of water when it proclaimed on 10 November 1980 International Drinking Water Supply and Sanitation Decade. India is also a signatory to this declaration. Thus, the right to access to drinking water is fundamental to life, and there is a duty on the state under Article 21 to provide clean drinking water to its citizens. C. AP Pollution Control Board, 2. V. M. V. Naidu, 2001 to SCC 62 at 69. Water pollution may be defined as the presence of some inorganic, organic, biological, radiological, or physical foreign substances in the water that tend to degrade its quality and which makes it unsuitable for the purpose for which it would be suitable in the natural state. The polluted water undergoes physical, chemical or biological changes and thus it becomes unsuitable for use in its natural state. The polluted water is not only nuisance or injury to public health, but also it poses danger to the life and health of animals, plants and aquatic organisms. Environment Law, Environment Protection, Sustainable Development and the Law, P.S. Jaswal, Allahabad Law Agency, 2008. According to the proclamation adopted by the United Nations Conference on Human Environment in 1972, Indian Parliament also enacted the Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1974 and subsequently Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Rules 1975, Central Board for the Prevention and Control of Water Pollution Procedure for Transaction of Business Rules 1975, Water Cess Act 1977 and Water Cess Rules 1978 as factors of water pollution, industrial wastes, domestic wastes, insecticides and pesticides, thermal pollution. Radioactive wastes are the major ones. As far as insecticides are concerned, farmers use large amount of insecticides and pesticides. Due to rain or irrigation, these insecticides and pesticides either pollute the neighboring fresh water in lakes, rivers and ponds, or they also down or affect the underground water. The insecticides and pesticides also kill the aquatic animals. Environment Law, Environment Protection, Sustainable Development and the Law, P.S. Jaswal, Allahabad Law Agency, 2008. The Insecticides Act was designed to implement the recommendations of the Kerala and Madras Food Poisoning Cases Inquiry Commission, which inquired into several deaths from insecticide-contaminated food in April and May 1958. The Act established a Central Insecticides Board to advise the Centre and the states on technical aspects of the Act. A committee of this board registers insecticides after examining their formulas and verifying claims regarding their safety and efficacy. Environment Law and Policy in India, Cases, Materials and Statutes, Shyam Devan, Armin Rosenkranz, Oxford, University Press, 2nd edition, 2001. The manufacture and distribution of insecticides is regulated through licensing. A violation of the Act's registration and licensing can lead to prosecution and penalties. The central and state governments are vested with emergency powers to prohibit the sale, distribution and use of dangerous insecticides. As per the observation of Tiwari Committee report in September 1980, this Act has not encouraged strongly enough the move away from the use of organochlorine pesticides, which are in disfavor all over the world for their proven detrimental effects on the various living natural resources of the environment. The use of biological and integrated pest control in India has hardly caught on in any significant measure. The implementation of the provision of this Act for monitoring pesticide residues in the environment is totally inadequate. Environment Law and Policy in India, Cases, Materials and Statutes, Shyam Devan, Armin Rosenkranz, Oxford University Press, 2nd edition. 2001. The Insecticides Rules of 1971 prescribed the procedures for licensing, packaging, labeling and transporting insecticides. They also provide for workers' safety during the manufacture and handling of insecticides through protective clothing, respiratory devices and medical facilities. 4.5 Plant Quarantine and Animal Quarantine. Under Plant Quarantine, Regulation of Import into India, Order, 2003, updated and consolidated version, in exercise of the powers conferred by subsection 1 of Section 3 of the Destructive Insects and Pests Act, 1914, to of 1914, the central government has made the order for the purpose of prohibiting and regulating the import into India of agricultural articles mentioned herein. Permits for import of plants, plant products, etc. 1. No plants, plant products and other regulated articles, hereinafter referred to as consignment, shall be imported into India without complying the phytosanitary conditions stipulated under this order. The order shall regulate import of all plants, plant products and other articles including but not limited to seeds, grains, pods, nuts, fruits, bulbs, tubers, rhizomes, suckers, cuttings, grafts, saplings, budwoods, roots, rootstock, flowers, pollens, dry plant materials, timber, wood, logs, tissue culture plants, soil, earth, clay, sand, peat moss, live insects, microbial culture, biocontrol, agents, transgenic plants and genetically modified organisms, etc. 2. No. Categories of plants, plant products in respect of the plant species or variety mentioned in Schedule 4 shall be allowed to be imported into India from the countries mentioned against each in column 4 of the said schedule. 3. Deleted. White Sixth Amendment of 2016. White S.O.2453. E. Dated 5th July 2016. 4. Import of consignments of seeds of coarse cereals, pulses, all seeds and fodder. Seeds and seed stock material of fruit plant species for propagation shall only be permitted based on the recommendations of Exim Committee of Department of Agriculture, Cooperation Farmers Welfare, DACFW, except the trial material of the same as specified in Schedule 12 of Plant Quarantine Order. 5. Deleted White Sixth Amendment of 2016, White S.O.2453, E. Dated 5th July, 2016. 6. No consignment of regulated articles as referred under Clause 4. 6. 7 shall be allowed for import unless accompanied with an import permit issued by the authority as specified under Schedule X. 7. The Plant Protection Advisor shall, after obtaining the approval of the central government in the Department of Agriculture, Cooperation and Farmers Welfare and based on international environmental law Dr. JJR, Upadhyay Central Law Agency, 3rd edition, 2012, 4.6 Prevention of Food Adulteration, ACT 1954. Food is the basic need for human survival. Food is required for physical and mental development and to get energy through which he carries on his daily activities. If food is polluted and adulterated, it is harmful and injurious to health and life. Food is polluted from its source to its use. Every living being has natural sense to judge whether the food is in consumable condition or not. Some testes are intended to a. Make the food palatable and attractive in the local frame of value, b. Keep the nutrient value as high as possible, c. Handle it in storage to reduce loss, d. Achieve abundance, e. Keep it free of filth and objectionable additions, f. Keep it free of poison and free of pathogenic biological agents. Pollution of food starts on the use of termites and pests chemicals. These chemicals are used when frequently then affect the quality of the product, directly or indirectly. With the use of these chemicals, food gets polluted and adulterated, and when consumed it badly affects the health, even injurious. Human food is widely contaminated by the concentration of pesticides, insecticides, and herbicides, and thus these synthetic chemicals have become the part of human diet all over the world and leads to various diseases and several deaths. In order to have control, Prevention of Adulteration Act 1954 was passed by Indian Parliament. Environmental Law Dr. JJR, Upadhyay Central Law Agency, 3rd edition 2012. This act, called the Prevention of Food Adulteration Act 1954. It extends to the whole of India. The central government shall constituted a committee called the Central Committee for Food Standards to advise the central government and the state government on matters arising out of the administration of this act. The committee may appoint subcommittees as it deems fit and may appoint to them persons who are not members of the committee to exercise such powers and perform such duties. The committee may, subject to the previous approval of the central government, make bylaws for the purpose of regulating its own procedure and the transaction of its business. The central government shall, by notification in the Official Gazette, establish one or more central food laboratory or laboratories to carry out the function entrusted to the Central Food Laboratory by this Act or any rules made under this Act, provided that the central government may, by notification in the Official Gazette, also specify any laboratory or institute as a central food laboratory for the purposes of this Act. General provisions as to food. 1. Prohibition of import of certain articles of food. No person shall import into India a. any adulterated food, b. any misbranded food, c. any article of food for the import of which a license is prescribed, except in accordance with the conditions of the license, and d. any article of food in contravention of any other provision of this Act, or of any rule made thereunder. 2. Application of law relating to sea customs and powers of customs officers, the law for the time being in force relating to sea customs and to goods, the import of which is prohibited by Section 18 of the Sea Customs Act, 1878, 8 of 1878, shall, subject to the provisions of Section 16 of this Act, apply in respect of articles of food, the import of which is prohibited, under Section 5 of this Act. 3. Prohibition of manufacture, sale etc. of certain articles of food. No person shall himself or by any person on his behalf manufacture for sale, or store, sell or distribute the foods mentioned in point number 1. 4.7 Food Safety and Standards ACT 2006. This Act to consolidates the laws relating to food and to establish the Food Safety and Standard Authority of India for laying down science-based standards for articles of food and to regulate their manufacture, storage, distribution, sale and import, to ensure availability of safe and wholesome food for human consumption and for matters connected therewith or incidental thereto, enacted by Parliament in the 57th year of Republic of India. Extensive deliberations were held by the Government of India and Ministry approved the proposed integrated food law with certain modifications. The main objective of Food Safety and Standards Bill 2005 is to bring out a single statute relating to food and to provide for a systematic and scientific development of food processing industries. It is proposed to establish the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, which will fix food standards and monitor the manufacturing, import, processing, distribution and sale of food, so as to ensure safe and wholesome food for the people. The Food Authority will be assisted by scientific committees and panels in fixing standards and by a central advisory committee in prioritization of the work. The enforcement of legislation will be through the State Commissioner for Food Safety, his officers and Panchayat Raj or municipal bodies. Handbook of Food Adulteration Safety Law Sumit Malik, Eastern Book Company, 1st edition, 2011. The bill inter alia incorporates the salient provisions of the Prevention of Food Adulteration Act 1954 and is based on international legislations, instrumentalities and Codex Alimentary Commission. In a nutshell, the bill takes care of international practices and envisages on an overarching policy framework and the provision of single window to guide and regulate persons engaged in manufacture, marketing, processing, handling, transportation, import, and sale of food. Main features of the bill area: movement from multi-level and multi-departmental control to integrated line of command. B. Integrated response to strategic issues like novel genetically modified foods, international trade. C. Licensing for manufacture of food products, which is presently granted by the central agencies under various acts and orders, would stand decentralized to the Commissioner of Food Safety and his officer. D. Single reference point for all matters relating to food safety and standards, regulations and enforcements. E. Shift from mere regulatory regime to self-compliance through food safety management systems. F. Responsibility on food business operators to ensure that food processed, manufactured, imported or distributed is in compliance with the domestic food laws. And G. Provision for graded penalties depending on the gravity of offense and, accordingly, civil penalties for minor offenses and punishment for serious violations. This bill is contemporary, comprehensive and intends to ensure better consumer safety through food safety management system and setting standards based on science and transparency, as also to meet the dynamic requirements of Indian food trade and industry and international trade. Handbook of Food Adulteration Safety Law Sumit Malik, Eastern Book Company, 1st edition, 2011. General principles to be followed in administration of Act. The central government, the state governments, the Food Authority and other agencies, as the case may be, while implementing the provisions of this Act shall be guided by the following principles. A. endeavor to achieve an appropriate level of protection of human life and health and the protection of consumers' interest, including fair practices, in all kinds of food trade with reference to food safety standards and practices. B. Carry out risk management which shall include taking into account the results of risk assessment and other factors which in the opinion of the Food Authority are relevant to the matter under consideration and where the conditions are relevant in order to achieve the general objectives of regulations. C. Wherein any specific circumstances, on the basis of assessment of available information, the possibility of harmful effects on health is identified but scientific uncertainty persists, provisional risk management measures necessary to ensure appropriate level of health protection may be adopted, pending further scientific information for a more comprehensive risk assessment. D. The measures adopted on the basis of Clause C shall be proportionate and no more restrictive of trade than is required to achieve appropriate level of health protection, regard being had to technical and economic feasibility, and other factors regarded as reasonable and proper in the matter under consideration. E. The measures adopted shall be reviewed within a reasonable period of time, depending on the nature of the risk to life or health being identified, and the type of scientific information needed to clarify the scientific uncertainty and to conduct a more comprehensive assessment. F. In cases where there are reasonable grounds to suspect that a food may present a risk for human health, then, depending on the nature, seriousness, and extent of that risk, the Food Authority and the Commissioner of Food Safety shall take appropriate steps to inform the general public of the nature of the risk to health, identifying to the fullest extent possible the food or type of food, the risk that it may present, and the measures which are taken or about to be taken to prevent, reduce, or eliminate that risk, and where any food which fails to comply with food safety requirements is part of a batch, lot, or consignment of food of the same class or description, it shall be presumed until the contrary is proved that all of the food in that batch, lot, or consignment fails to comply with those requirements. Handbook of Food Adulteration Safety Laws, Sumit Malik, Eastern Book Company, 1st edition, 2011. General provisions as to articles of food. According to the general provisions of the Act, no article of food shall contain any food additive or processing aid unless it is in accordance with the provisions of this Act and regulations made thereunder. No article of food shall contain any contaminant, naturally occurring toxic substances or toxins or hormone or heavy metals in excess of such quantities as may be specified by regulations. No article of food shall contain insecticides or pesticides residues, veterinary drugs residues, antibiotic residues, solvent residues, pharmacological active substances and microbiological counts in excess of such tolerance limits as may be specified by regulations. No person shall manufacture, distribute, sell or expose for sale or dispatch or deliver to any agent or broker for the purpose of sale any packaged food products which are not marked and labeled in the manner as may be specified by regulations. Handbook of Food Adulteration Safety Law, Sumit Malik, Eastern Book Company, 1st edition, 2011. Liability of manufacturers, packers, wholesalers, distributors and sellers. The manufacturer or packer of an article of food shall be liable for such article of food if it does not meet the requirements of this Act and the rules and regulations made thereunder. The wholesaler or distributor shall be liable under this Act for any article of food which is a. supplied after the date of its expiry, or b. stored or supplied in violation of the safety instructions of the manufacturer, or c. unsafe or misbranded, or d. unidentifiable of manufacturer from whom the article of food have been received, or e. stored or handled or kept in violation of the provisions of this Act, the rules and regulations made thereunder, or f. received by him with knowledge of being unsafe. The seller shall be liable under this Act for any article of food which is a. sold after the date of its expiry, or B. handled or kept in unhygienic conditions, or C. misbranded, or D. unidentifiable of the manufacturer or the distributors from whom such articles of food were received, or E. received by him with knowledge of being unsafe. Authorities responsible for enforcement of Act, the Food Authority and the State Food Safety Authority shall be responsible for the enforcement of this Act. They shall monitor and verify that the relevant requirements of law are fulfilled by food business operators at all stages. The food safety officers shall enforce and execute within their area the provisions of this Act with respect to which the duty is not imposed expressly or by necessary implication on some other authority. The Commissioner of Food Safety and designated officer shall exercise the same powers as are conferred on the food safety officer and follow the same procedure specified in this Act. No person shall commence or carry on any food business except under a license. Nothing contained in subsection shall apply to a manufacturer, retailer, hawker, vendor, industries relating to food business. They shall register themselves with such authority and in such manner as may be specified by regulations, without prejudice to the availability of safe and wholesome food for human consumption or affecting the interests of the consumers. Any person desirous to commence or carry on any food business shall make an application for grant of a license to the designated officer in such manner containing such particulars and fees as may be specified by regulations. Every license shall be in such form and subject to such conditions as may be specified by regulations. A single license may be issued by the designated officer for one or more articles of food and also for different establishments or premises in the same area. If the articles of food are manufactured, stored, sold, or exhibited for sale at different premises situated in more than one area, separate applications shall be made and separate license shall be issued in respect of such premises not falling within the same area. An appeal against the order of rejection for the grant of license shall lie to the Commissioner of Food Safety. A license unless suspended or cancelled earlier shall be forced for such period as may be specified by regulations. Handbook of Food Adulteration Safety Laws, Sumit Malik, Eastern Book Company, 1st edition, 2011. 4.8 Important Judgments on Environment Protection, Dayal Singh v. State of Rajasthan, 2004, Municipal Corp of Delhi v. Tek Chand Bhatia, 1980, Godawat Pan, Masala Products I.P. Limited vs. Union of India, 2004, Hindustan Lever Ltd. V. Food Inspector, 2004, Bhagwan Das Jagdish Chandar v. Delhi, Brahm Das v. State of H.P. 1988, 4.9 Summary. Increase in population especially in developing countries causes increase in the demand of food supply which can be met only through increase in agricultural land and extensive cultivation and increase in the productivity and thus intensive cultivation. Increased use of chemicals to control diseases in crops and to kill undesirable insects contaminates the soils and water and enters human bodies, causing cancer. In this unit you learnt about the Essential Commodities Act 1955, Fertilizer Control Order 1985, Insecticides Act 1968, Plant and Animal Quarantine, Prevention of Food Adulteration Act 1954 and Food Safety and Standards Act 2006. Food Safety and Standards Act 2006 was enacted to lay down the standards to signify the change in environment of regulation. This act is to regulate and monitor the manufacturing, import, processing, distribution and sale of food to ensure safety of food for people. You have also learnt about some important judgments on environment protection. Thank you for watching. We will see you in the next video with the next chapter.